Good evening and welcome to Lord Gugu's stream. Tonight's performance of Musical Theater is Good Actually will run approximately 90 minutes with either one or no intermission. And tonight, the role of guest will be played by Carl Williams. Please take this time to note all emergency exits, silence your cell phone, and make peace with your God. Now please enjoy Musical Theater is Good Actually. And with this week's theme song, we are going to do it live. Musical theater is good actually. Musical theater is actually good. Musical theater is good actually. Musical theater is actually good. We are back with another week. Look, I figured out my chroma key a bit more. It looks okay. We had some issues, but we're here. It's fine. It was barely even a delay. It's just like a classic theater. Like, that's a classic theater delay of, all the Act 2 light cues went away, and we don't understand why, and it's 30 minutes before curtain. I mean, come on. We've all been there. But I'm really excited to be here. Had a rough week. We had some sickness going on in here, but we got through it, and I'm so happy. You will not catch COVID in here. It's unclear whether I had COVID or not, but it's possible. But we're all safe, and that's why we do these. That's why we do these things. Yeah, possible COVID, unclear. We're gonna get the antibodies test in a little bit. That'll tell us whether we did or not. But enough about me. We have one of my favorite people on the show tonight, so I'm so excited to bring him in here. And so our guest tonight is thrilled to make his debut on Musical Theater is Good Actually stage. Some of his favorite past credits include Ordinary Days, Bob Marley's Three Little Birds, The Color Purple, Parade, In the Heights, Sister Act, the 25th Annual Putnam County Spelling Bee, and Once on This Island. He would like to thank his parents, Luke and Barbara Williams, for their never-ending love and support in both life and his theatrical endeavors. Ladies and gentlemen, Carl Williams! Oh, wait, I have to unmute you. Oh, I'm doing it all wrong. Oh, I did it, yes!
Hello!
Carl!
Hello! Bye.
It is so good to have you here. You're cutting out a bit, but I think you're okay now. You're okay now. We're all right.
Okay, good.
Carl,
Perfect.
one of my absolute favorite people to work with. We've done a bunch of shows together, but that's for later in the show. We can't get ahead of ourselves. That's going to be for the main discussion here. But also just one of my favorite people, and somebody I was excited to have on the show because he's also starting to dip his own toe into streaming, and so we're pulling him into the dark side with the rest of us attention hungry nerds. So is that fair?
Yeah, it's pretty accurate.
Yeah, I figured. It's how many streams have you done now? Have you been, or are you still getting your feet wet? What's going on? What's going on with that?
So we've done, I think only like maybe, but we were like 4, maybe 5 videos.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's cool too. Yeah. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can do it. I mean, like streaming is just one, but I mean, it's really awesome to just like take time to just kind of experiment and just like figure out what it like exactly how you want to do it, because there's no roadmap, baby. Not
Correct.
like
Correct.
It's
Absolutely.
It's not like theater where it's like we got to do this much rehearsal and go into tech and blah blah blah. I don't know. I'm trying to tie it into theater, and it didn't really work.
No, it's okay. No, I see where you're going. It's all right.
Okay.
It's all right. I connected the dots.
There, just a little stretch right off the top. Well, Carl, how have you been? I know that you do a bit of teaching here and there. I know you've also just been running around in these past few months. I'm sure have just been insane because what we want to be doing as musical theater performers is we want to be performing musical theater, but not really opportunities for that, tragically.
Right.
So how you been keeping yourself busy
Yeah.
besides streaming? What's been going on with you?
Well, so I work with this as a TA,
Mm-hmm.
so that's been taking up a lot of my time. And then when I'm not doing that, I'm either being a TA, doing DoorDash, which is a whole nother bag of worms, or just playing video games.
Yep.
Like that's
Yep.
basically it. Seeing as how my career has been put on
Yep.
hold until basically 2020. So
Right. Yeah, I mean, and video games, video games are perfect because it's just like, and yeah, I've been the same way. I'm just like, I don't put a lot of thought into it. I'm like, what do I want to like poke the happy parts of my brain right now? Is it like a stupid TV show? Is it this video game or whatever? And I've like started so many games and I don't know if I've finished any of them just because I'm just like on to the next thing, just whatever to occupy myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm. I feel that. Yep.
But more important than that, I think to both of us and our friendship and
Is
just our lives is
uh-huh.
musical theater, which, I mean, my opinion, and I don't know if you'll agree, but I think it's good actually, is sort of what I'm saying with this show.
Okay.
I don't know if you feel the same way.
Yeah, I mean, yes, absolutely.
No.
I love musical theater. Obviously.
Of course, you must. But I mean, and I know, just from doing shows with you, a lot about where you're coming from. But just to catch up anybody in the chat or anybody watching this, we are going to do my musical theater quiz, which is a getting to know you quiz, giving everybody context of what your feelings are on musical theater, like what just kind of where you're coming from when it comes to musicals. So, all right.
Okay.
So here is the musical quiz. First question: which statement do you agree with more? Musical theater is the pinnacle of human achievement as the purest and most complete synthesis of all art and performance. Or, second statement, musical theater is an abomination before God and man and destroying us as a society and human race. So of those two statements, which do you feel is more accurate to your feelings?
You know what? I am going to go with the former.
I figured I figured as much.
I'm going to have to go with the.
But we have to start. We have to start from like
pinnacle.
Bird's eye view, like a million feet up. Like, where are we starting from? And I intend to have people on this show who maybe would say number two, and just we're just having a conversation here. I'm trying to present my case.
Mm-hmm.
Musical theater is good. All right, next question. Okay, what is your musical theater archetype? Okay, your musical theater character archetype. Is it ingenue, villain, sidekick / friend, character actor / comic relief / old? It's always one or some combination of that or all three. I think or other specify. So any, I mean, you're very, I would say, no offense to my previous guests who are amazing, that you're maybe the most well versed. So that there's even more archetypes in this. So, what is Carl? If like the musical of Carl's life, like what is your musical archetype?
It's really weird because I always get asked as like, it's usually like the boy next door, the quiet, unassuming guy with the heart of gold. Oh shucks, go get him, champ, kind of person. So I'm not exactly sure where that would land because it's not
Well,
really
it's
ingenue.
it's not
Um,
even it's not even necessarily what you would play. It's who are you? What's you like? Who is Carl's? Like, not even like what you get cast as necessarily. Although I would say that would be like a Gavroche, maybe. Is that the archetype? A Gavroche, like an innocent, a
mm,
young innocent.
mhm,
I don't know,
mm.
but yeah, I know if that's what you feel you are. But like,
I like that. I love how I'm learning stuff.
hmm yeah, let me
I mean,
mansplain
and
musicals to
like
you.
it's no. Like I generally like yeah.
hmm
I completely agree. You know what? Oddly enough, even though that's what I get cast as, that's also kind of how I see myself too.
You do have a
Um,
heart of gold for
in the
sure,
sense,
for sure.
I like to think so. I
I
like to
confirm
think
that.
so. I like to think I'm
I
pretty
would
well intentioned.
testify on the stand to that. I would say yes, heart of gold, certified.
I like to think so. Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, I always want to be the villain. Always.
Yeah,
Because the villain is always so much better than the lead.
they're so much more fun.
Like
Always more fun.
songs, like
hmm
yeah, like they're not limited to like this sense of morality, like
Right.
the ingenue
hmm
or like the you're like no, like you're a bad guy. Like you can go like fuck some shit up. Like
Yeah.
nah.
And as
Like that's what I want.
an
But
actor, it's like permission for you to get to like break the rules. It's almost like coming at it from a gamer
exactly.
perspective. And so this is I'm just gonna keep torturing ways to try to tie
Ooh.
this into gaming.
Ooh.
But it's like how people
Ooh, I like this.
it's like the reason people like to love to play like Grand Theft Auto or whatever is to like act out like their whatever like criminal like go on a high
Mm.
speed chase fantasy or
Hmm.
whatever, get 5 stars or and it's
Yep.
like when you get to play a villain, it's like
Yep.
that for just getting let your evil side out or whatever. Okay, well that's the
Yes.
archetypes. Okay,
Yes.
we can move on.
Absolutely.
Okay. Oh, this is I also know. So, how do you musical theater? I mean, will you perform it? Typically, it's in the before times.
Hmm.
Well, but actually, this is an interesting in the before times. Pre-apocalyptic. Uh, um, that's going to be the new type of movie. Is instead of post-apocalyptic movies, pre-apocalyptic movies.
Pre-apocalyptic. Yeah.
Part of the reason that I started doing the show is I did it kind of as a one-off, and I found that it, it was a really fun way to kind of reconnect with how much I love theater. So, are there things that you're doing now to keep that alive for yourself? Are you watching musicals or slime tutorials, or like listening to sound like the OBCs or anything, or is it too painful? Honestly.
Um. Well, there is one OBC that I cannot listen to right now
Is
because it is too painful.
is it a
I think
certain
speaking of,
4-person
well, I guess it's not really.
chamber piece with a piano and
Hmm.
4 actors? Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll talk about that later in a second. Yeah, we
yeah,
will go there. So get the
yep.
tissues ready, Carl.
But yeah. Oh gosh. But like as far as keeping busy, like I've been doing mostly I've just been trying to like create my own music. I just like recently have gotten really heavy in GarageBand.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it's like, trying to make my own music, make my own voice, like try to do whatever I can to, keep the voce nice and warm
Mm-hmm.
so that when eventually
Yeah.
in a year or three, when we actually can go back,
Right.
it'll be a shocking transition. Yeah.
I will tell you,
So that's pretty
Carl,
much it.
I was driving around today, and I just started singing my favorite places to myself. Knew every single lyric, word perfect. It was, and every inflection, it was locked in. And it was the first time I'd done that.
Yes.
So this is our,
I
yeah.
love that.
So it had been too painful to me until then, but I was thinking, oh, Carl's coming on the show, and I was thinking about the song, and I sang, and it was nice. It was nice to sing. But we'll get into that. We'll get into that.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
I feel like you're gonna have opinions on this one, so I'm excited for this. What musical should be more popular or beloved, and which should be less popular, in your opinion? And this will affect your casting in future, because I'm going to send this to every casting director in DC and say, if you put these in your season, Carl doesn't want to do it.
Okay. I'm gonna start out with which one I think should be less popular. And it's going to be controversial and all that, but I don't think that Dear Evan Hansen should be
No,
as
this is a safe space.
Right.
This is a safe space for hating Pasek and Paul, because that's my official editorial position. So don't worry about that.
And the thing is, I necessarily dislike Ben Paul. It's that show in particular, I just do not like. Now, don't get me wrong. If Waving Through a Window comes on my Spotify, I'm gonna belt that shit out.
It's beautiful. But, Ben Platt has a gorgeous voice. Of course, yeah, obviously.
Yes, yes. But also, it's like, come on, and like this guy lies about.
I know.
Knowing this guy, and what consequences none.
He has internal
gets away
consequences.
With it scot-free.
He beats himself up over it a lot. Yeah, I agree.
Oh.
And my big issue, issue with Pasek and Paul in general is at least for their big numbers. I guess the Christmas Story musical doesn't really apply to this one or whatever. But Dogfight, Dear Evan Hansen, and sorry, I have to gird myself to say it because I hate it so much. The Greatest Showman. Between those three, they gravitate towards works that are about people that should be villains. You know what I mean? Dogfight especially. What a random source material. This movie that nobody remembered that they're gonna adapt it, and then I mean, don't get me wrong. In terms of composing a pop musical song, musically, I'm not. Yes, they know how to push the endorphins in your brain.
Yes,
they got the formula. They're at the chalkboard. They know how to do that. But I hate their lyrics, and I don't like. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. So that's what you think it should be less popular. What's your underrated gem? What's your What's your musical you go to bat for that people either hate on or don't know enough about?
You know what? I think you know what it is. We're probably going to end up talking more about, but I will constantly go to bat for Spelling Bee.
Oh yeah.
It truly does not get the respect that it deserves.
Oh, I'm excited to get into Spelling Bee as well.
Me, of course, everyone loves the "I Love You" song,
but the script is so good.
It's a wonderful song.
Yeah, the script, and the characters are
it's good,
right? And I think that it's because when you first here on the surface, sort of what it's about, it's it's adults playing kids at a spelling bee, and then they have audience participation. People kind of, and this is sort of a lot of the premise of this show is that sometimes when you hear a musicals shouldn't work, and obviously on some level, on an intellectual level, as you're watching a musical, you're this is kind of cringe and stupid even, but if you open yourself and give yourself over to it. So if somebody tells you the basic premise of Spelling Bee, you're I don't know about that. They're gonna pull me up on stage or something, blah blah blah, and but there's really so much more in it, and the script is really just well crafted, and it works so well. Yeah, and I agree. It's a real gem. I
Hmm.
love that. And I wasn't like, I was kind of assigned that show, Carl, when I directed it, and you were in it there. So and I liked some of
Hmm.
the songs, but I was surprised how much. Yeah, I fully not even like by the time we were casting or whatever, I was so like deeply like all in on that show. It's a really good show.
Yes,
All right,
it's so good,
and we clearly want to just really get
and I
into
don't
it.
think enough people do it, but that's fine.
No, yeah, I agree. I agree. People should do it more. And
Yep.
I have some
Yep.
issues. I don't actually know if I like youth productions of it. I don't like ones where they have to clean up the lyrics, and I don't like
Yeah.
it also, I don't know
Yeah.
if the comedy of it works as well with, like, you lose that sort of whole thing. I don't know. But well, we'll get more into spelling bee, and we want to get more into it. So I'm just going to go to the
Hmm.
last question here.
Yeah.
This is probably the most important question, and I want you to answer it.
Yes.
I want you to answer very, very
Ooh.
seriously. And also, I want to apologize in advance because I was supposed to fix this slide because they're in the wrong order, but I didn't. I'm sorry. So here it is. Of these options, how would you personally measure a year?
Oh God.
Daylights. I'm gonna do it in the right order. Daylights, sunsets, midnights, or cups of coffee. Show your work. Now, really, like, how do you? And you know
Oh.
what? What an interesting time to consider this question, because it sort of feels like, what is time? How are we measuring a year? So I think we really do have an interesting perspective on this right now. So how are you measuring your year, Carl?
Um. You know what? I can't say daylights or mid because the days and nights tend to blur now.
Mm-hmm.
Uh. So anything that I can really measure it by, I'm gonna have to say cups of coffee.
3 for 3.
Gonna have
Guess
to say
we
that.
are 3 for 3, and
Yep.
that's my answer as well.
Yep.
I might have to replace this question. Carl, as somebody who knows a lot about musicals, do you have a suggestion for a question I could add to the quiz? I'm putting you on the spot.
Ooh.
Like,
You are. I like it.
now that you have taken the
Hmm.
quiz, like, I'm wondering if should there be
I
something about, like, songs, like specific songs or anything like that? I realize there's nothing about that. I don't know.
was literally just about to ask, like, maybe you could throw in, like, what is your, like, favorite or least favorite, like, 11 o'clock number or something.
Yeah.
Like what's your favorite showstopper?
At one
You
point,
know,
I
or like
had
song that like people come to see.
what musical theater song do you want played at your funeral? And then I realized that would be, like, really dark to ask somebody, so I took that one out. But yeah,
That's a good question. Yeah,
so
I'd have to think about it, but
so that was the quiz. That's just a formality. That's how this starts on this talk show. But Carl, I'm
I
wondering.
love it.
So Carl is a very great DC area, DMV. Oh man, he gets, because you've gone all the way down to Riverside, right? He drives up to. Have you worked in Baltimore too? How far? I want to know, like, the geography of how, because you are hustling always, and I mean that, like,
Ooh.
I'm like, Carl's always on his grind.
You know what? I try. I just got to go where the money is because your boy has bills,
Mm-hmm.
and they will not pay themselves. So you just got to go where the money is. Like,
Yep.
I do stuff here. I do stuff in DC. I've done stuff for Riverside. That's it's just like you just got to go wherever you can, man. So
Yeah.
I'm just like wherever is paying me, that's where I'll go.
I think
Yeah.
there's probably a few people in the chat that are watching in LA that work in the film business, kind of out there, the production, like, business out there, and I think that for them that might be like yeah, sometimes you
Uh-huh.
have to drive an hour or more or whatever to go work, and it's like, sure, but, like, in DC, people are like,
Mhm.
you want me to go outside the Beltway? Are you serious? Are you hiring a Sherpa to carry me?
Yep. Yes,
Right.
exactly that. Exactly. Like if you can't get there
Right.
via metro, then like
Exactly. Oh, and we all know
mm-mm.
Metro's coverage
DMV
is
people are
great.
not here
Yeah,
for it.
too. Metro is everywhere.
Oh,
and
oh
it's so
yeah.
and it's
Oh
so
yeah. They go with
reliable and great to use too. So anyway,
drag them. Absolutely.
um, yeah. Well, you're the first like local person I've had on the show, so I have to get all the local DC references in now.
Oh,
Yes, Carl, you feel very,
I
very
am
honored.
so honored.
Well, we've been through a
Oh my gosh.
lot. We've kind of referenced this before. So, part of the reason I'm so excited to have you on here is that, and I've heard other people talk about this phenomena from other things that they were doing at the time, but it's like forever locked into what you were engaged in when the whole world got fucked. And what I was
Mm-hmm.
doing was getting ready to, start our final closing weekend of a great little show called Ordinary Days, which
Mm-hmm.
is a wonderful four-person and a piano chamber musical by a composer named Adam Guan. If you haven't heard of it and you like musicals like that kind of maybe like a Last 5 Yearsy or Songs for New World kind of thing, I'm highly recommending that to you right now. Very, very, very cool show
Very much so.
that we were all
Mm-hmm.
very in love with and in love with each other. And then, of course, we
Mm-hmm.
didn't get too close, which was the right call. And, and it's what every other
Yes. Yes, it
theater
was.
did at the same time. It was just kind of that was the time that everything got canceled.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it
Yeah.
really, really sucked to not
Yeah.
get that closure on it. And I felt worse for friends who were like about to open shows that never
Yes.
happened. That
Yes.
would have been far worse. So I was always kind of trying to be like, and I remember saying this in our group text and stuff, being like, well, we got 3 weekends. Like, it was a really cool show. I wish I could have done more,
Yeah.
but like, and eventually we might do if we whatever happens on the other end of this, we may do a reunion concert or something, and I know all of us would be there in a second, in a heartbeat.
Reunion concert. Oh,
Yes.
absolutely.
I
In
know
a
that,
heartbeat.
and my the very,
Yes.
very talented, wonderful Sarah Ann Sillers is in the chat, who played my lady love in the show, my counterpart, because
Sarah Ann.
Sass is here. We got Sass in the house, and
Yes.
just to give a brief short synopsis of it, is it's basically four people in New York that are all kind of going through it in their lives in some way or another, and it's two one over earnest weirdo and a weirdo artist type, and a very high strung graduate student who is lost in her life, sort of become random friends and strike up a friendship. And then also I and my girlfriend of a year have just moved in together and are wondering, have we made a huge mistake? What do we actually want to do in this relationship? And it's those two kind of basic, and that's it. And like that's really what the essential conflicts or like plots are, and they kind of intersect. And so, but it's a really, really lovely, the music is so great, and there's some really, really fun songs. It's just a really fun duet that I get to do with Sarah Ann, where we'd be like, oh, I'm fine, we're fine. And actually, I don't remember that one. Was that accurate? I don't remember that one. I just realized I think I was doing Jamie in Last 5 Years. I'm fine. It's a different one. Sorry. Oh boy. I also had to rack my brain to try to remember, and this is classic me in any show, had to rack my brain to try to remember what my character's name was before this. I was like, which Mark? I was like, couldn't remember. I was like, no, Carl was Warren. I'm not Warren. I knew that.
Yeah. Well, I'm like, I am in no position at all to talk about anyone remembering anything when it comes to Ordinary Days. I forgot an entire line. Opening night, just
you had some
total brain fart.
You had some
But we
mishaps.
picked it
You
back
were
up.
taking full spills and fully falling on your
Oh,
ass.
I completely forgot about that. I absolutely
Don't worry, I remembered
right on the tuchus.
because I fully broke character
Oh my
and just went.
gosh.
I was like just looking because there was like a full second where I was like, "Are we just gonna call hold?" I was like, "Do we need an ambulance?"
Nope.
But then you are just cracking
we're
up,
not.
and so
Nope.
I'm sure you were in a lot of pain, but it was just like
so funny.
right. Right.
Well, the thing was, at the time, I wasn't in so much pain. It was just like a bit of like, oh shit. But then also it's like, got to keep this show going, Carl. We're almost done. Just like laugh, giggle, make sure that the stage manager can see that like you're okay,
right,
you're fine, so you don't have to hold the show. Like
he's
keep
a professional
it going,
folks.
and then once you get off stage, fine.
That's a fucking professional. He knows that his stage manager is gonna, and he's like in character signaling to fucking professional. Carl Williams. I'll just already.
I was sitting there laying on the ground, just like but then like okay, look.
Yeah.
I'm okay. Don't stop the show.
Is probably what the character would have done too. Is he would have just been like, he's just such a goofball.
Absolutely. Like, I just fell on my ass. Yeah. Totally.
Right.
Totally.
That was
totally.
It was a really cool show because it's very and that's another show that when I first started listening to it, I was like, kind of like the music, but I mean, this is not the kind of show that I typically like because the lyrically it's like so direct. Like it's just the characters are always kind of just saying, this is what I'm going through, these are my feelings, like which is like, sometimes for me can be like a little too either maybe like heavy-handed or just like I like to be a little more poetic or have metaphor or kind of things like that or whatever in the musical.
Sure.
But because this is all just sort of so a sort of simple kind of clear story, and the characters are or 3 out of the 4 characters, I'm the one I think, are have like their own like charismatic sort of quality. I mean, I love Jason too, but he's just also is just kind of like the boyfriend who doesn't know why his girlfriend doesn't like him, and then he finds out.
He is, but Jason is lovable. He's so lovable and so earnest.
Mm-hmm.
Like he knows what he wants. Like Jason's a good guy.
Well,
Jason's a good guy. He's lovable.
Right.
Like he's certainly not like a free person.
Yeah.
Or anything.
And he's going through some shit, and they're all
oh
no, he's done with his drink. He's going through some shit, and they're all going through some shit. And the only time where there's 2 times where all 4 sing together. Hang on, I was actually gonna see if I could try to sing just my part of the first time of when the end of your scene with Anna. Where are you going, Claire?
Yeah.
Claire, stop! You can't just leave me in. Like just doing this one where there's like 4 overlapping lines happening if I just did just my part. But that's like a really quick moment. But then there's this really beautiful quartet at the end where kind of all the characters finally all sort of come together spiritually or whatever, or in this moment of sort of happenstance or kismet or whatever you want to, which is another musical that I don't know anything about. But that's and it's and that was always the best to sing. Is here all 4 of us together, and then hearing that from people after the show is like, when you guys all like sing together, like that is good shit. Oh, Elisa's in here too. Our wonderful music director Elisa Rossman is also in the chat. Who is the 5th member of the cast, or as I like to call her, part of the set.
Yes.
Don't. Don't ever say that to your accompanist or music director if they aren't already your friend. That's a joke. Yeah, just
Oh gosh.
tip from me to
Yes,
you.
champion.
But that was at Next Stop. I have some pictures of us up on the stream, the same ones I shared earlier today.
Ooh.
But oh, I'm so proud of you for learning Twitch, Elisa. I'm so proud. Did you have to? Did your sons help you, or was Daniel helping you? So.
No, I'm sure like Daniel's like right there by
like,
her
oh my
side.
God,
like,
Mom,
you gotta do this. You gotta
what the heck?
click this, Mom. Like, no, Mom, that's not how you do it.
But that was at Next Stop, which you've worked at a couple of times now, and I've worked at a bunch of times. And they're one of my theatrical homes here in the DC area. And we love them, and that was and it's a very small black box theater, and that's a very great venue for a show like that. And having that direct, being able to directly feed off of the audience like that on such a sort of like intimate kind of small, very nice little show. So, and so I just, but the thing about it is that of course it was cut short, but we should have known that would happen, Carl, because this was our third show working together. And all of our shows are cursed in some way. They're also all great shows, like shows that I'm excited to do.
Yes.
That are very good shows.
Yes.
With great casts, theaters. I'm excited to, I'm excited to be working and doing what I'm doing in the show. But just the universe or whatever. Let's start at the very beginning. A very good place to start. Musical reference.
Yes.
Sorry.
Musical theater is great.
Yes. I will find any opportunity. So I first met Carl because I was directing a community theater production at a local community theater, Kensington Arts Theater here in the Montgomery County, the greater DC metro area. And it's so community theater, as people probably know if you've seen like Waiting for Guffman, is like volunteer theater basically. It's people like all extra sort of, and it's great. And I will always, that's another thing I will always stick up for, even as of course you do have the Waiting for Guffman types and all of that kind of comedy that does happen in community theater as well. But it's a really awesome place to stretch your legs, to really learn, to get up on a stage, to and work with people. A lot of people who are extremely talented that just like don't want to do the audition grind, and who can blame them? And they have like, professional jobs where they like, paying the bills that way. And so that's awesome. But this was a production of 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee. A really great show, and Kensington Arts Theater performs at this like literally like 100+ year old building, like this. It's like called the Kensington Armory or something, and it's like this old town hall where they have like freaking bridge tournaments, and like the entire like all of Leisure World comes down. Like they make like a, they travel to Kensington rather, from Leisure World, and they go and they have these huge bridge tournaments. But it's it's like this huge kind of like gymnasium sort of auditorium where they like put up risers and these curtains and stuff, usually to try to make it feel more like a theater. But it is always, and that's always something people would complain about, because I'd done a few shows there, when they'd be like, you can't hide that this is a gym. Like you put these black curtains on the side, but we're in a gym. So I was like, well, this show, the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee, is like a county spelling bee. And it's like, this is where it would take place. Is it a place like this? So I said, we're not even like going to have a set. Like, this is the set. It was like, and it was great. But Carl came highly recommended because there's a role in the show, Mitch Mahoney, who is the comfort counselor, who is there doing community service, is what in the script. and
Mhm.
is a really and
Mhm.
sings an awesome song, and also like is basically the one who also corrals the audience. Like it's like a weird mix of like there's some like ASM like duties attached to it. You also have to stack chairs as a part
Yeah.
of this.
Yes.
Oh, I'm
Yes, I
sorry
do.
I made you stack
Yes, I do.
chairs. But I direct, and then Carl had played the role twice before, and so he came recommended. And yeah, sure enough, he could probably go on if theater was happening. When theater comes back, if somebody's like, "We're doing a production of 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee next week," you'd be like, "Get Carl.
Oh,
He's ready. He knows
right
it.
here. Right here.
He's
Right here. I will come to the first rehearsal off book for
yes,
everything. The only thing that you're gonna have to tell me is what blocking you want me to do, and there shouldn't be too much because I should just be really sitting on a stool the entire time.
mm-hmm.
But if you want to do more, that's fine. I am ready.
Yeah,
Off book, off everything.
yes." And it's
I love it.
well because so the show has 6 kids. Okay, the 6 kids that are played by adults, and then
Yes.
3 adults who are played by adults, and everybody's based. I mean, so it's a really ensemble show where it's you need 9 people who are funny, able to like respond or be in character and that kind of thing. But the 3 adult roles also do have to kind of run the bee. They actually have to like do these things, and so there's the Rona Lisa Peretti, who's I mean, there's not a main character, but she's sort of the former champion and blah 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 blah. And then there's Vice Principal Panch, who is doing the reading the words and the sentences, and then he gets to put them like in funny sentences and stuff. That's a great role for a person with great at improv. The wonderful Matt Bachman is amazing for us. And then there is Mitch Mahoney, and so, but you haven't done Mitch Mahoney since then, have you?
I have not. Because no, I don't think anyone else, at least someplace else that was close enough for me to get to, has done it.
You're right. Yeah,
since I last.
Yeah, the last professional like equity production I can remember around us was Ford's, and that was a long time ago. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. It was Ford's. Yeah, I know that Keegan did it like years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the last one was Ford's.
And it's a great show because it is also a fun show that you can do on a budget, because it should look like it's on a budget. I mean, again, it's a county spelling.
Yes.
Like we literally bought freaking like streamers and balloons from Party City, and like that was it. And we put them like some curtains up that we could like do, and like that was it.
Yep.
And yeah, it's a really fun show, except, well, so then it was doubly cursed. I actually just forgot until just now that there was a misunderstanding, and that do you remember this? That we were supposed to open like a week later than
my gosh, yes.
So we were supposed to run 4 weekends.
I completely forgot.
4 weekends, 3 shows each weekend or whatever, or something like that. Or like 2, 3, 3, 2 or something like that. And found out like where we were probably like a month before what we thought was opening, that it was like, actually when we actually have the space is 2 weeks earlier. And so like the 4-week run that we had was basically the whole thing shifted 2 weeks earlier. And we're like, well, we're not going to be ready to open in 2 weeks, but we could do it in 3. So we opened 1 week earlier, added shows to try to do it. So I think we had and we were still supposed to have 12 shows, and this was February 2015, I believe, which ended up being the most freak snowstormy time of Maryland, including one show that we didn't cancel that we should have, where everybody almost died. But also, that was a crazy freak snowstorm too, because they were like, "There's going to be a dusting," and so we were getting to the theater, and it was starting to like just starting, and we're like, "Oh yeah, they've just been saying it's a dusting." And for people that don't live in Maryland that are watching and don't live in this area, we are not known for being chill about weather. So when people are like, it's just going to be a dusting, you're like, oh, okay. Because if there was cause or any reason to freak out and go buy all of the bread and toilet paper and like bottled water or whatever from the grocery store, we will do it. But it was like, people were just like, oh, it's just a dusting. But then it like, out of nowhere, like really snowed, and it was like awful icy snow. It was like crazy, and it built up like so quick. But at that point, like there were already like a good number of the audience there, like half the audience canceled, like they were coming, but we had like, I don't know, maybe like 18 people in the audience at that point. And they were like, well, let's, I guess, do this show, because then it will, because again, it's going to cool, like it's like it's not going to be that bad, so then they can clear the streets at least, I guess, like we're here. And everybody like almost died getting home that night. It was, we like couldn't actually drive home the way we usually do because our car couldn't make it over a hill. It kept sliding back, and like, yeah, it was that was Valentine's Day, I remember. It was like the craziest freak snowstorm. And then after that point, we ended up just canceling 3 different shows because of weather.
Yeah, I remember that night. It took me about 3 hours to get home. And it would take me like anywhere between like 30 to 40 minutes. It took me 3 hours to get home.
Yeah, we were lucky that we were able to
Crazy.
And we lived 10 minutes from the theater at that point, but it took us at least 30. And we had to take the belt. We had to get onto the beltway because that was the only place that, like, because I didn't have to worry about. And even then, like getting on the entrance, I was like, oh god, it's like a slight incline. Is this going to be too much? But I got on. But yeah, that was scary. And we ended up canceling a third of our performances, including the closing performance, which was going to be recorded for all of us to have a recording. So it's that wonderful theater thing of it's ephemeral and it's done, and it's just a memory. And it was such a great cast too, and just a wonderful,
so good.
You know, you got your John Mio, you got your great best-selling author Emma Lord, you have, you know, the great Emily Dye.
Yes, Emma.
Sarah King, wonderful. Of course,
we
Teresa
had
Dansky, Helen Hayes nominee, or has she won too? I know she's been nominated, but she's wonderful. Yeah, Matt, like I said, you, Dylan. I mean, like, that was a really, really great group, and it was tragic that we didn't get to have it. And then the other thing was, because the dates got shuffled and all of that, it also meant that, like, it was tough getting an audience in there. Like, we did Thursday performances which this community theater like has never done, and people were like, what? And so we had really small audiences for those. We only had like a couple of shows where we really had a good size crowd, and those were the most fun shows that actually had like a really good crowd. Oh, another notable thing that happened, and I'm doing all the talking here, Carl, so I will shut the fuck up in a second. But I would be remiss.
You keep going.
I would be remiss if I didn't mention one other notable thing that happened with that show. Was opening night, because my assistant director on that show was the wonderful at that time Abigail Davis, my at that time girlfriend, live-in, and she helped with the show. And so on opening, I did propose. That was when I did it. I dropped down there on one knee.
Yeah, you did.
Ryan Burke's dad is like weirdly in the background of all the pictures, and he's just kind of like in a coat. He's like, what's happening? It's really funny. But so that was.
Although you did it and you proposed when like the entire cast was downstairs in the dressing rooms.
Well, that
you
was
didn't
because
wait for us.
Craig, the artistic director, told me he's like, if you're gonna do this, you're not allowed to. Don't do it on the bows. You can't do it on bows. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do it on bows. He's like, okay, good. I don't want to do that shit. This could take too much time. This guy's a character. We love him. We love Craig. We love him for all the opportunities he's given me. That's his.
Oh my God, that was spot on.
That's the debut of the Craig character on Musical Theater is Good, actually. Hope everybody enjoyed that.
Keep it. Keep it. Keep it. Keep it. Craig is booked and blessed on this show from now on. That's mwah.
But that was still a wonderful experience. But again, it's just didn't we felt robbed by the universe in some way from that show. And then we didn't feel robbed by the universe by our next show together. We actually, if anything, were blessed. Both of us. Blessed with opportunity.
Yes.
Because we were in a particularly busy understudy corps for one of 3 productions of URINETOWN in a calendar year in the DC area. The second of the 3.
Yes, yes.
At the wonderful, we love Constellation.
Yes, that was the year of URINETOWN.
We love Constellation Theater.
Yes.
A great production, really awesome. Such a fun cast. Such a fun team.
Good.
But also just like shit kept happening, like family emergencies and people getting sick and people having babies and so Carl got to go on a lot.
Yeah, that was when we had like the Black Plague that was assaulting our cast because everyone was getting sick.
There was only 5 or less people in a 15 or some I don't know how, that's a pretty big cast. That did not have to call out at all. Most people, and even some of them, had to end up shuffling roles, of course, right? Because, that's how some people were under. That's why I went on for the very first week of the show as Beryl, and which was so much fun to get to do with Christian and and just getting to do.
Which you crushed, by the way.
Well. Yeah, I mean, it was moment of truth, literally the second performance after opening, because I came to the Wednesday performance to see it one more time because I was going to go up the next night. So it was the second performance after opening, and then for a week, and it was awesome. Carl did go on for final dress when publicity photos were taken. Thank you, Sass, because David Landstrom was had bronchitis and was dying.
Yes, I went on with no understudy rehearsals or nothing. I get a call. I was still working at Cheese. I get a call from Allison and hey, we really need you to come in right now. David's not going to be able to be here. We can hold a rehearsal for you. Just tell us what you need to know. And so thankfully the cast was so awesome, and everyone just came in and we did a quick little 3-4 hour rehearsal before the show of putting me into the track. And I still remember to this day the Act 1 finale, I think it was Emily Madden, was literally had my costume in her hand, was dragging me around stage for the Act 1 finale of where I needed to go. Yeah. So cast was troopers, just a bunch of troopers, iconic.
I think that it was
so good.
Towards the end of my week that I finally got the choreography of Snuff That Girl 80% once.
Yes.
Just in the back row, dude, that guy watching everybody's feet, just trying to. But all the understudies were just really, really busy. Sarah Ann was also an understudy and was constantly going on as well. In fact, had to go on for just an Act 2 for somebody.
Star.
Yes.
Star. Sarah Ann is a star.
She Ubered down from Silver Springs, I think, to make it. And they held they had a 30-minute intermission to allow her to get in there and get in costume. Just these are all famous just a very extremely busy understudy time. But also, I love URINETOWN though, and it was a lot of fun to do. And I also got to do Rick's track once. The wonderful, another one of my very favorite people in DC theater, Rick Westerkamp. Getting to be
Rick Westerkamp.
getting to be Robbie the Starfish, and wear that like pilot like hat and stuff. Yeah, that was also really fun to do too. But it was one of those bonding kind of experiences. And the other thing about that show,
oh yeah,
for me is, and it's not the show's fault, and it's not the theater's fault. It's not anybody's fault. Well, it's certainly some people's fault. But that show was the last like thing I did before the other thing that ruined the world, the Donald Trump being elected. So that was like, when I like think about like URINETOWN, the other reason I'm like this is happy is it's because this is still like the idea that he could win is like a joke. So it's another like sweet summer child moment of when we were innocent. But yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And that's the only time. That's the only time you've done URINETOWN, as well.
Yes, that is the only time. I would love to do that show again. I really want to be Bobby at some point. I would really love to be that. Or I had an idea, and I'm not sure exactly, but I really think it could. Really love for both Bobby and Hope to be played, and for that to be like a gay romance going on within URINETOWN. And if someone was to do that, then I would absolutely want to be Hope, like so much. Just like imagining singing like the Cladwell song, just like a daddy, daddy, daddy.
I love
That's
it.
my dad.
What a wonderful,
like I want that so bad.
What a wonderful himbo romance that would be, right?
Yes, yes, I need it.
Just like need it. Twin, like,
and I know that
naive,
people would come for
right.
it.
Yeah. It could totally work. And that was another thing about that URINETOWN is just Katie Kaiser. Wonderful Hope was Katie to just watch her play that.
Oh,
so good, wonderful.
Yes.
And everybody,
yes.
Harrison was great, Nick, and everybody,
yeah.
That was a good.
Yes. I'm still imagining Katie's I See a River at the end, and how hilariously great it was.
Well, I will say,
so good.
She was
so
coached.
Good.
She did consult with a Broadway great, a true Broadway great on those riffs. Vishal.
A true Broadway great.
Vishal Vaidya from Groundhog Day, and what other shows has he been in? I don't know all of his credits, but I know he was Ned Ryerson, which is a really great role. A funny part of Groundhog Day. I don't know Groundhog Day, whatever. I heard it was awesome, but I'm pretty ignorant of the show. But so she like, and they're friends, and she like
by Vishal. That explains.
She was like, "Can you help me with these like riffs?" And so like he like. So they like, she was really just like, she called him on the phone, but it was still like, so that's just a fun little bit of trivia. But Sarah Ann's also like, Sarah Ann, thank you. You're really helping keep me on track here, because she's also pointing out that then I did do the third of the three DC URINETOWN. So I did 2 of 3. Sarah Ann also did 2, but she did the first 2, and I did the last 2, and we overlapped on Constellations. And then by the time that we did that the next summer, we had to make it about Trump. We had to make Cladwell Trump, and we had to we were like, well, that's what it has to be about now, because that's all anything's about. And then and that's when I played Thip, and I played him as like a slightly effeminate Southern senator, and I called him Lindsay Thip. He was based on Lindsey Graham, and that was fun. And that was also
didn't know that.
also a very fun show. Ricky
That's great.
Ricky Drummond as Bobby was really, really wonderful, as was Emily as Hope, and yeah, it was a fun cast. That's yeah, that was, but that's and then we embark on this journey of ordinary days, and you know, I've and we're finally in a show together as full cast members. Also, is the other thing. Even though we were on together in URINETOWN, I think multiple times. Did you only go on for FIP?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Did you only go on for FIP? Was there anyone else you
No.
went on? Oh no, that's right, David. Yeah, that's right. You
No.
also went on for
Yeah.
Tiny Tom.
Yeah.
That's right.
Tiny Tom, and
you were definitely the most busy understudy, but certainly a bunch of us got our opportunities. Yeah, Maggie got to do some Little Sally, I think too. Yeah, right. Everybody got some time. But we're finally cast together. But even cast together in a show, how much interaction do we have in the show? Like zippy. None.
None.
Because it's these parallel stories.
None.
And I have more interaction with like Anna. Like I think I run into her a couple times. But like
Yes.
Well, you're in like the background in like the museum and stuff. But
Right. But like even still at the museum, I don't ever acknowledge your presence. Like Warren does, like I don't think he knows that you exist.
Right.
Like there is no interaction between like the two of them ever.
Right, which I think
it's so interesting.
It's kind of the cool thing about how in the end, how like his big like climactic moment really sets off another climactic moment, like of somebody completely divorced from him that he has like no, like it's almost better that it isn't something of all four of us coming together and being aware of each other. Like that would probably be too kumbaya. It's because it is this like, total coincidence and like wild thing, and the lyric. So basically, the end of the show, there's like this huge event. I'll be very vague, because I don't want spoilers for people. You can probably find some pretty good slime tutorials of this one, if you wanted. But also, it's only a song cycle. It's sung through. So if you listen to the cast recording, that is the show. There's nothing else. And
that's it.
Does it even have my favorite number, Claire's entrance to the party? Does it? It does. That is on the soundtrack. Yes.
Everything.
We love an interstitial song. We love
yes.
There is just something funny that like an orchestrator, like somebody like wrote down and like, you know, like really like wrote out all those like notes and like figured out exactly like for this like 12 bar scene transition song. But it's but because our we don't really interact, but still getting to be in the rehearsal room, and it was one of the best rehearsal rooms I've been in because everybody was just so good. It was like we would just be like fanning out over each other in a really sincere way, and it really
yes.
I mean, on my end, it was really like I felt constantly the need to up my game, in like that, really like not just because of where I saw everybody else, which was just so cool. And it's a great show to just be able to showcase these different talents. So I'm looking forward to doing it again.
Yay.
When we get to. That's what's getting me through this.
I need this to
pandemic.
happen really soon.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely. Yes.
Carl, memory lane.
I miss that show. I don't think a day goes by.
Yeah.
That I don't think about that show and just like the magic that was on. Not to toot our horn, but I mean, I feel confident enough. Like that was a fucking great show. Like it was it's just the I think it's one of those rare moments when you just have exactly the right people that you need for the show.
Mm-hmm.
And we have the right director. We have it was just everything worked. Like our music director was great, our director was great, and like they gave us enough like space
Yeah.
to do what we needed to do for these things, and they never really like want to say like they stopped us from going too far, but I think we like knew where like the boundaries of like what we like where we could go, and what we could do, even when it comes to like vocally. Like I don't think that Elisa ever gave me a note to be like, Carl, you're doing too much. Even though there were some times in the rehearsal room where I myself was like, Carl, you're doing too much.
Carl
But Elisa never told me.
and I will say this: if you listen to this cast recording and you're not familiar with the show, that the original Warren is wonderful, and it's a really endearing, wonderful performance. But Carl's was completely different. Of all four performances, everybody did a great job. I don't mean to say, but like Carl really reinvented the character a lot, and added the tastiest and most tasteful riffs, just peppered throughout, just like the most lovely seasoning in the in the stew or whatever. So it was
just some sensible riffs here and there, like nothing too much.
And the other wonderful thing about it, and it's actually I think going to be the case for this musical theater is good actually show as well. So it's my favorite thing in musicals now. One act, no intermission, 90 minutes, not even. No, I guess it is. It was like 1 hour or 25 or something. It was it was like, how long was it?
Sure.
Or was it shorter than that? I don't know.
I think it was shorter because I remember getting home.
You're right.
At 10 o'clock on some days.
Yeah, you're right.
Like,
because it's like an hour.
It
was like an hour 20 altogether. With every from 8 o'clock, like we were like done by like around 9:20 because the entire it's all on one CD, so it's shorter than a CD. But it's exactly as long as it needs to be. If it was any longer, it would. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you could have another thing here or there, but I think it's great. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It's a really lovely show, and and I agree. It was like the most positive I'd felt about a show, like not just what I was doing in it, and not just like the cast, but also just like knowing this is a good show. Like, and there's nothing better than like sometimes you're in a show that has problems or has whatever, but you try to find what you love or what'll get you through it. But to have a show that you just know it with all your heart is awesome, is great. So we'll get to do it again, Carl.
Yeah.
And it was great to revisit it with you. I think
we will.
We did it together. I wish we could have. I mean,
I agree.
It wouldn't have been sanitary if we could, but if we could have like held hands through it or something. But we did it. It wasn't too painful. We talked about this because it really did suck to just have the rug kind of pulled out and not be able to have the full closing experience. I mean, we did get together one more time and watched Cats. Substances were involved. We watched the Cats movie.
Favorite movie of the year, hands down.
It was extremely fun.
So good.
It was
so good.
I'm glad we did do that. That was a very great way to all get together one last time. And then I've been quarantining since. But like it's that weird thing of you're one of the like last other people besides like Abby, and I guess a few times I've gone and seen my like family, but like besides that, like you're one of the last other people like friends that I've seen that I saw. But I can't wait to be
Yeah.
doing theater with you again. Carl, tell me more about Two Brown Gamers. What's I know you're still kind of figuring it out a bit. What's the overall plan, or like what are you thinking? Like what games are you doing? What kind of content will you be creating over there? If people go check you
Yeah.
out.
So okay, so basically, so we're this. We are Two Brown Gamers. It's myself and my friend Andres, and that's Two Gamers spelled TOO Brown, and then Gamers is spelled GAYMRS.
Yep, I have it. I have it
And
above
so
you on
we
the
just
stream.
do. Ooh,
Yeah, so they can see it.
fancy! I love that.
Both your personal
so
and the
we
stream. I'm on it.
Yeah,
I'm on
it's me, Bobby. Haha. All right. So basically, we are trying to do a lot of stuff. One of the main things that we play is Smash Brothers. We're both quite good in Smash. We both enjoy playing it. But also, we don't want to just be limited to that. So we do a video. Like we just did a video where we have these 20 questions, and we are asking each other these questions, and it's basically just to see how well we know each other, and for our audiences to know a little bit more about us. Like the question is like, one is like, what is your co-star's favorite color? And we both have to answer it for like the other person, and if we get it right, we get a point. I'm not going to tell you how well or not well we did. You're going to have to go watch our video
That's
and
right.
find out. It'll be dropping. The second part will be dropping on Monday.
Nice.
But so basically, we want to do stuff like that. Well, we just recently streamed the Avengers game, which is so much fun.
Good.
Please go play that if you can. It's great.
I'm gonna pick that up.
We did that. We played Fall Guys, just like everyone else does, because Fall Guys is just
what platform
a
are you playing?
humongous acid
Are
trip.
you playing that on PC?
Which everyone.
Because
no, we were playing Fall Guys on PS4.
Okay, I'll have to get it for my PS4 then, so I can play on there too. Because I have it on my computer.
Yeah.
That is a fun game. There are assholes in that game though. Just some.
Yes, it's so much fun.
Some of the most evil
so
people.
much. Yes. Yes.
The people that the people
who
block the path in Slime Climb, who stand on the one cylinder and they don't let you go through. The worst.
Yes.
The worst people on the planet.
Get them out. Get them out.
Yes.
But yeah, so basically we just want to do, we're doing gaming stuff like that, but then we're also going to start rolling out more like video content stuff. Like we have a Try Not to Cry challenge that we have coming up, where we're going to be showing like these 8 clips from like emotional movies or from like emotional TV shows, and do our best to try not to sob looking at them. We're also planning to do a weekly or maybe bi-weekly, I'm not exactly sure, but a Smash Brothers tournament with like a prize. And so if someone else besides myself and my co-star wins, then they're going to get $25 or $50 gift card. But then if we win, we're going to donate that money to a certain charity or a cause. So it's going to be like a win-win regardless. So basically, we just want to be gaming nerdy content creators who just basically just what we do and we hang out with each other, just do it on camera. I mean, like just have fun, love each other, and play games.
I love this for you. I mean, I'll tell you that for me, when this stream ends, like I'm like the rest of the night, it's like I just did a show. Like I'm like, I got something out, and it's like being able to just still put something out, and work on and sort of figure out new stuff. Like I'm figuring out like image like manipulation and things like that, and the Streamlabs and all that kind of thing, and it's great. It's you got to be doing something, and I find it's not ever going to fully replace it. That's the thing and so that's why I was excited for this show as a way to kind of try to keep this alive for people and remind ourselves, because we can't do it. So we and it's understandable that we don't want to dwell in thinking about musical theater right now when we want to be doing it, performing it. But just to kind of remind ourselves that there is something very, very special about it. What's your? I guess before we say goodbye here for the evening, what's like your favorite thing about musicals, both as like a performer of them and as a fan? Like, what is the most like? What's the secret sauce? Like, what's the most magical aspect of it for you?
Oh gosh. Okay. So honestly, the most magical part of doing a musical for me is it's truly like a song. It's just heightened emotion. It just gets to a point where just speaking can no longer properly like express your feelings at the moment, and you just break out into song. And there's this magical moment when like maybe how you're feeling as a person off stage and how the character feeling on stage, it syncs up and it brings this entirely new level of depth to the song, and you get to portray that and put it out into the ethos, into everything. And it's this invigorating, powerful feeling of just like honestly and truly getting out your emotions in a way that you couldn't be able to do it any other way. And that is one of the things about musical theater that I will always treasure, because it truly has helped me, not just as an actor, but as a person, like learn how to express myself. Like I don't really know how else to explain it. I'm just rambling at this point, but it's just magical.
A lot of that resonated with me. I know that something that when I'm acting in straight play, that is a struggle for me, has always, as an actor, has always been being in my head and like thinking about the like seeing the scene from the outside, or thinking about what I have to be doing like for the show, but not about like what my character really. And so so when you do that, right, you're disconnected from your character. And I think that's sort of like what you're saying, that when you are singing, that there is a part of you that can't think, because what you're thinking about is, I need to breathe here, I need to stand with the support, I need to make sure that like I have this note, but like that also is all locked in your body. And that is when I can feel myself actually release and not think. And like you say, like that sinks into that emotion and you feel that. And to me, like that can sometimes be a much more powerful moment of emotional truth than like the most like perfectly replicated, scene of somebody finding out that their dog died or whatever. Like, like they like perfectly capture how someone would actually process that emotion. It can be extremely powerful too, but there's something that when it's expressed in song, it taps into something deeper, both for you, the performer, and that's also, I think, why that musical theater tends to resonate, be more popular with audiences. Like it's because that's something that's music is just more universal in that way. So, and you're just one of the most talented people that I know.
Yeah, totally.
And so it's just a pleasure to have you here, to see your smiling face again, and to talk to you. And to everybody that joined in the chat, especially all of our theater friends that are here as well. You're all wonderful, wonderful people. Check out Carl. I have his socials there on the screen here. And tip your DoorDash driver generously, because it might be Carl. You never know. Yes. And also, you should just do that anyway. Yeah. If you're ordering food,
you never know.
You have spare. I mean, that's what I've been doing. I'm like no lower than like 30%. Like, I mean, and often like I'm just like, if you're doing this right now, like I'm gonna, because I have it, and a lot of people don't, and I'm very, very lucky and blessed right now. But Carl, keep the faith alive. Good luck with the streaming. I can't wait to check out the content.
Thank you.
You're welcome back anytime. Talk about musicals.
Thank you. And then, hey, maybe one day we can have one on our channel.
Oh, absolutely. Not Smash Brothers, because I will be destroyed and very much embarrassed. But I would fuck around in some Fall Guys for sure. For sure, I would get in on some Fall Guys. So,
Absolutely.
well, thank you again, Carl. You're the best. Everybody, thanks for being here. Oh, wait, actually, I have two more things. Two more things
Ooh.
really quick.
Uh,
Because I meant to show this earlier, but I still want to show it. Okay. Sorry to embarrass you, Carl, but we are going to hear a little bit of Ordinary Days as well. A little snippet.
I start my every morning
Oh, no.
in the thick of all these people with my hopes and dreams.
Oh my
restored,
gosh.
and one by one, I get ignored. Ugh, it makes me wanna scream or write a manifesto that declares the city void of any soul.
Oh, it's only getting the audio, but that's okay. This is Carl singing.
I shout it from the rooftops, loud and clear. But who would hear?
So that was somehow I lost the video, but they heard it. They should have heard it.
Yay!
It was just Streamlabs just decided to be stupid. So that is that. I also, oh God, and this I'm even less prepared for, but I'm gonna try to do it. So coming up on the stream, sorry, Carl, this is just gonna be some housekeeping a bit. Coming up on the stream next week, one of my favorite internet people talking about my absolute #1 favorite musical, Sweeney Todd the Demon Barber of Fleet Street. That's right. I'm going to be talking with Jack Allison, and I am making Jack Allison watch the original Angela Lansbury. Well, it's not the original. I mean, the original filmed one, because it's George Hearn and it's not Len Cariou and it's not Victor Garber, but you know. Anyway, he's going to be on next week, and then the other thing that I need to do here, Carl, do you have any final thoughts while I pull this up? Sorry, it's just gonna take me 1 second.
No, it's fine. Final thoughts. Not really. Just come and support Two Brown Gamers if you get a chance. We would love to have you. We are also going to start routinely putting people on our weekly videos where we do play Smash Brothers. Like even if you do not play Smash Brothers well, it is still fun to have you on because that's also part of the fun. And we also have like challenges and stuff like you got to play this match with your controller upside down.
I do love it.
Stuff like that. Like we just have fun stuff.
I'm just bad, but I do love it. Okay. Let me see if I can actually get this up here, because the other exciting announcement coming up on the stream is we have sometime in October, I am going to have my very, very good friend Harrison Smith on, and he is going to there's something that we've been talking about doing for a long time, and all right, I'm just gonna have to and I invaded his, I was on his stream last night, and he where's window capture? Oh, there it is. And at the end of his stream, I surprised him by throwing a gauntlet down, and I am going to show that in just one moment, because if anybody missed this was how the challenge came to be. A very big moment in the history of this stream and the history of Harrison and my friendship. So enjoy this. This is what's coming up sometime in October. It's not really going to be a fair fight, but this is happening.
You're not.
Sometime next month. That there is a dream role that we both share, that we have been in competition for just between the two of us in a production that's not even happening and
Via a meme
never
war.
been up for. A production of Merrily We Roll Along, where we are both hypothetically competing for Charlie Kringus, who has the superior Franklin Shepard Inc. That's right.
That's right. I'm telling you, get into the octagon.
Brother, if you think that your understanding of Sondheim's complex melodic movements and the way that he phrases things in relation to the way that he is moving his rhythms, then brother, you are in for something.
His most powerful musical monologues, Franklin Shepard Inc. You and me, brother, in the octagon.
It's on, brother. We'll see you at some time in October, brother. Mind exploder? You're not.
Sometime next
Oh,
month. Yes. So that's gonna happen. It's sometime in October. We don't have a date, but that's on the horizon. That's on the horizon.
Yes!
But look forward to next week. I'm going to be talking about how Sweeney Todd's my favorite anti-capitalist work of theater, and just also my favorite. And Carl, thanks again for being here. Sorry I had to do all that business at the end. I just didn't. I wanted to make sure I did it.
That's fine. Thank you for having me.
Yes, this has been so much fun. Harrison tried to call me.
Same.
Sorry, Harrison. You can crash the stream with Jack next week. We're getting out of here. The tech mostly cooperated. I feel good about this. I don't want to push things. We're getting out of here. I will prevail. I am going to win, but it will be nice to watch young Harrison try. But I will be the superior Charlie Kringus. I do have the superior comedic character actor chops, as well as the deeper capacity for pathos. So we will see. We will see. Until next time, we'll see everybody next week. I love you. And